Hello students, I'm here with another video from the chapter Soil of class 7th NCERT book. Now before going on to today's video, I would like to tell you all that till now we have discussed the things in this chapter. So we have discussed about the word soil, and then I discussed about the properties, the types of soil, and then based upon the particle size, the texture, the color, it is of different types, where we discussed about the three types of soil, that is the loamy soil, the sandy soil, and the clayey soil. Then we have also discussed about the vertical section of the soil, that is known as the soil profile, where the layers are being where the layers are being placed in the form of various horizons, and these horizons are having different particle size, different color of the soil, and also they have different properties. And in the last class we have discussed about the properties of soil. So the properties of soil, in which I discussed about the percolation rate, where the amount of water, how it is going to be percolated from the in between the particles. Then we discussed about the another property, that is the water retention capacity. Then we discussed about the moisture content, whether it is present or not. So we found that the moisture content is also present in the soil, means whenever, and related with these points we have also discussed certain activities. So the next activity which I am going to discuss, some more properties are still left with this soil, means there are two more properties, that is pH and what kind of pH it is having, and next is the one more property which is left with this soil. So in today's video I am going to discuss about these two properties, and then we go on to the another topic, that will be the soil erosion. So I think many things we have discussed in this chapter. Now some more activities which are left, we'll discuss this today. So we with this recap of this last class, I am going to start with today's video. So this today's topic is left with is always I'm going to start with the another properties of soil, that is, which you could see in the next slide. It's here, that is the pH of the soil, and next, what is the air present in between the particles of the soil or not. So in this pH of the soil, what is there? What is the meaning of the word pH? So pH means it is the value, means it is the, as we have discussed in acids, bases and salts, that pH is the value where it is going to tell about the strength of acids and base. Now where is this acid and base coming? So we know that soil also contains a type of pH. Now how is this pH going to be calculated? Again, it is going to be seen with the help of pH paper. So what was that pH paper? Or we can use litmus paper, or we can use the various indicators which is going to indicate whether the soil is acidic or basic. So soil could be either it is having a different pH depending upon acidic, basic or neutral nature. So why this acidic, basic and neutral nature has to be tested, and what is the need? So based upon the pH values of different crops are being grown here. So different crops, why different crops could not survive? Because different pH, means if the soil is too acidic or too basic, then in both the conditions the soil, these two particles, the soil could not help in the survival of these plants. So plant will only survive in the soil which is neither too acidic nor too basic. So to maintain the pH of the soil, we need to first test the pH. We can test these pH with the help of indicators. Okay, so what are these indicators? So these indicators are, they could be litmus, okay, they could be pH paper, okay, and there could be certain various like natural indicators, it could be synthetic indicators, or it could be the these universal indicators. So pH value always lies between 1 to 14, so it lies between 1 to 14, and in between we will have the number 7. So whenever we have to test the acidic condition, we are going to test between number 1 to this 6. Okay, so if the value is coming between 1 to 6, it is acidic, and if it is coming from 8 to 14, it is going to be basic. So this is the basic idea behind the pH values, that it is a scale. It is a scale which consists of a number that is between 14 to 1 to 14, and the number which is between 1 to 6 is always acidic, and the number 8 to 14 is always basic. The lesser the number, more acidic; more the number is more basic in nature. So the soil could only help in the plants to grow if it is having optimum pH. It is going to have an optimum pH, means it should have a correct value of pH. Next, what kind of air content it is having? So the soil is made up of various particle sized, and which is always be loosely bound or it is tightly bound. Okay, so how it should be? It is always loosely bound or it could be tightly bound. Now how do you know that the particles of the soil also are loosely bound? As we talked about the sandy soil, we talked about loamy soil, we talked about the clay soil. Okay, so this soil is having the different properties. So the sandy soil's particles were far away from each other, they were very big in nature. The clay soil was having very tiny particles, and loamy soil were having intermediary type of particles which were neither very big nor very small. So between these particles, air is also trapped, water is also trapped, and we could see that we have already seen that there is presence of water in between these particles, and now we will see that air is also present in between these particles. So since the particles of the soil is made up of different sized particles, they are loosely or tightly bound. Yes, in the case of sandy soil it is loosely bound, and in the case of clay soil it is very tightly bound. Now the air which is often occupies this space, you know that each and every system, each and everything contains air in it. Okay, whether the things are very tightly packed, but still these particles are having a small amount of air in between the place. Air is present in between each and every particle of this things. Now this allows the life of, now why is this air utilized, where is this air utilized, and why it is very important? So this air contains oxygen, you know that, and very microorganisms are living, and macroorganisms are also living. Okay, so here in the soil, micro as well as macro organisms are living. So micro means very tiny, and macro means big organisms also live, which you could see from your eyes. So these organisms, these both requires oxygen to breathe, and from where is this oxygen coming? This oxygen is coming from air. So this oxygen is going to allow the life sustenance of these microorganisms. So we require oxygen, they require air, so that the microorganisms could sustain their life, they could live their life very properly. Now how will you prove that air is necessary for the air is present in between the soil particles? Before that, I must tell you that this air content is very much necessary for each and every types of microorganisms. Okay, and this air content also keeps the soil aerated. Okay, it keeps the soil aerated, and it also helps in the crops to also helps the crops to grow properly, because they require oxygen, they also require carbon dioxide. Again, all these things are going to come from the particles from the air which is being trapped in between these particles. Now next is the activity which is going to tell you about that soil contains air. Now why we are discussing these activities? So we have already been discussing the activities which is related with these properties of soils. As in the last class also, I discussed about the activity which was related with the percolation rate. Then we discussed about the activity because of which we found that water is present in between the soil. Similarly, now air is also present in the soil. Now what you have to do for this activity? First you have to take a beaker. So this is a beaker, and next these are the soil particles, and some water has to be kept. Now these three things are required. So before doing this activity, you all should have these things with you. So first, how you are going to start with this activity? You have to take some soil in a beaker, and pour some water over it. It's very easy. You have to take the soil in a beaker, or you could take in any container, but beaker will be very easy for you all to get, and it is very easy for the experiment to be done and you could see the results also very clearly. Now once you are pouring the water on these soil particles, what happens to it? After some times you will see that few bubbles are coming out. Now why these bubbles, and from where is this bubble coming out? So these bubbles are coming out because air is being trapped in between the particles of the spaces, between the spaces of these particles, and as soon as you are pouring the water, this water goes inside the particles and the air is coming out. So already air was there, so this air has came out, and the water was always water is present in between the particle was being as soon as the water went inside, the air between the particles came outside. Okay, so next thing is that this is the very easiest experiment, and this could be explained like in the following ways. Like you have to take the soil and pour water over it. Okay, and within few seconds you will see some few bubbles which are coming out. So these bubbles are coming out due to the air spaces present in between the soil particles. Now water has filled up the spaces which are earlier filled with air. Okay, so earlier it was filled with air. Now what happens? This air is taken out because of the presence of water which is going inside these spaces. Now the air particle rises up as the bubbles, and the air is lighter than those of the water. So water is heavier, but air is very it is not having the weight, means that is why the air is going to push this water is going to push up the air, and it is going to be rising up. So these bubbles could be seen very clearly because of the soil which is being present here in the beaker. Okay, and you are pouring some water. So only these three things are required for the experiment to be done. I'll just write this labeling also, so that it becomes easy for you all to understand. Okay, next we go on to the next this slide, which is going to show you the soil and the crops. What is the relation between soil and the crops? Is there any relation? Yes, it is. There is a relationship between soil and the crop. Why? What kind of relationship is there? So the crops cannot grow without the soil. They cannot grow. Okay, they cannot survive without the soil. So it is very necessary for the soil. Why? Because these crops require nutrients to grow. These crops require the various types of, they require for the growth they require nutrient, for the growth they require air, for the growth they require carbon dioxide, they require to do photosynthesis, they also require water. Now all these, air, water and the nutrient, or these minerals you could say, all these are coming from where? These all are coming from the soil. So this soil is a very essential part for the crops, for the growth of the crops. So I think that makes a very clear idea in your mind that soil is very much necessary for the growing of the crops, for the growth of the crops. Now different kinds of soil are found in the regions, as we discussed about these sandy soil, clay soil and the loamy soil. These three are the basic types of soil which is being present, and we also saw that it is having texture like red color, black color, brown color, and then why it is having, because of the various minerals which are being present in these soil types. Now different kinds of soil are found in different regions because of the following factors. Why the different types of soil are being found? Because of the factors which is going to decide the structure of the soil, what kind of particles they will be having, what kind of soil, what kind of color, what kind of texture the soil might have. It is being based upon these facts. So what are these facts? This fact is the temperature. The first fact is the temperature, then the second is humidity, then the third is rainfall, the fourth is the sunlight, and the fifth is the wind. What is the meaning of of all these three words? So the meaning of the first word, temperature, we have discussed already, that it is the degree of hotness or coldness of any place. Okay, it is going to tell, it is going to be measured in the form of the degree Celsius. Next, what is the humidity? Humidity means the moisture content which is present in the air. Next, what is rainfall? Rainfall is the amount of precipitation, the amount of rainfall a place is receiving. If the place is receiving a large amount of rainfall, the soil becomes clayey, because the bigger particles will be means they will be weathered off, or they could be crushed in the form of smaller pieces, and the particles could be clinged together. Okay, now next, it could be sandy soil if the rainfall is very less, if the temperature is more, if humidity is less. Now if the soil is having if the rainfall is in a moderate condition, then the loamy soil will be formed, of course. Yes, so these factors are very much responsible for deciding the structure of any kind of soil. So next thing is the sunlight. Again, it is related with the temperature. If the amount of sunlight is more, then the dry soil is formed, means that sandy soil, there is possibility of getting the sandy soil in that particular place. And if we are having winds are being blowing, so the blowing winds may leach up the soil. They could always move the content of the soil from one place to another place, and they could erode the soil, and they could erode the particles of the soil, which will always be which is helpful in the deciding the structure of the soil. Okay, now there are different crops could be grown in different particles of soil, which depends upon the factors we discussed. Okay, and also the properties also will be affected by these factors. Properties means the percolation rate, the retention of water, then the moisture content, whether it is present or not, air content which is present or not. Okay, so these are of three types, and you could see that what kind of crops could be grown in that particular soil. So the crop which could be grown in the three types of soil are as follows, which is given in the form of table. This table is going to tell that in sandy soil you could grow the potatoes very well, lettuce you could grow, then corn, peppers, all these could be grown very easily. Okay, next is the clay soil. For clay soil you could grow the sprouts. Okay, sprouts means all these pulses could be grown very properly. Cabbage, beans and broccoli could also be grown very properly in this clay soil. Okay, next you could grow rice is also grown in this clay soil. So paddy is the one of the most important crop which is being grown in the clay soil. Okay, next is the loamy soil. Loamy soil is a soil which is containing the optimum level of the particles as well as the moisture as well as the air. It is the best soil for the agriculture. So many of the crops could be grown. Some examples are written here: apples, carrots, tomatoes and cucumber. These could be grown in these loamy soil very easily. And there could be many other crops which could be grown in loamy soil. So I think this is the best soil for agriculture, and that is why I told you that it is also known as agriculture soil. Why? Because many crops could be grown in this soil very nicely. Okay, so this was all about the soil, and the crops are interrelated with each other, and it could be it is going to decide, means these soil types are going to be decided by these factors, and these factors are going to decide the crops which could be grown in these kinds of soil. Okay, so this was all about the soil and the crops. Next we go on to the next slide, that is going to tell you about one of the very important phenomenon, that is the soil erosion. Now what is this soil erosion? Have you ever heard about this word erosion? And that is also related with the soil. Now this soil erosion is a very important process. I mean, this could be a very this is a very natural process which is taking place in the nature, and this is not a good process. It is important, it is there, but it is not a very good process. It is going to harm the soil, and it is a harmful process. It is also coming under soil pollution. Okay, now I'm just going to tell you about what is the soil erosion. Now, as you know, that soil is a very important natural resource. Okay, natural resource, and it is formed by the process of weathering. Now because of this weathering, because of this natural process, this soil also is present in the form of fine powder in the area, okay, where it is being formed, or it is not going, it is going to be formed and it is going to lie here. And yes, it could be a essential phenomenon sometimes, but it is not very much it is not a very good process of getting eroded, but sometimes it is very much necessary for the erosion to take place. Now what is the soil erosion? Soil erosion means when the top layer of the soil gets removed, then it is known as soil erosion. Now how it is getting removed? Now why is this topsoil getting removed? And you have very and you could think over that, how is this topsoil getting removed? So this removal of the top layer of the soil is known as soil erosion. Now how is the soil getting removed? As you could see here in this picture, the soil is getting removed. How is the soil getting removed? The soil particles are very lighter in its nature. They are very soft, they are very light in its nature. Now they are not very heavy, so they could be blown away with the action of wind, fast moving air. It could be with the wind, it could be very much it could blow with the help of wind, as well as it could flow with the water, fast moving water. So what is the soil erosion? Soil erosion means it is the removal of the top layer of the soil by the action of wind and water. Now this wind and water are the agents of erosion. Agents of erosion means these are the these are the events, or these are the natural processes, or they could be the assistants, they could be the helpers for the erosion to take place. Now how is this erosion taking place? It is taking place with the help of these helpers. The helpers could be the wind and water, the flowing water and the moving wind. So fast moving air could blow up the top layer of the soil. As you could see what is happening in the storms. Storms are generally having the dust, they carry the dust particles with them, and they could be flowing from one place to another place. Okay, so you could see here in the erosion as erosion by water, and this is erosion by air. Okay, as you could see here in this place where water is being eroded, the water is being helpful in the erosion, as it is taking up the soil with them from one place to another place. Now this wind also is carrying away the air, carrying away the dust particles from one place to another place. Okay, so this is how the erosion is taking place. Now next we go on to another point, that is the soil erosion is mainly occurring when the soil is left loose without vegetation or deforestation is occurring. So why is the soil erosion taking place? The next question comes, what is soil erosion? I have told you that it is the removal of the soil from one place to another place by the action of water or wind. Now why it is happening, the reason behind this is the very first reason, that if it is left loosely, why it is left loosely placed in the earth's crust? Because there is no vegetation and there is deforestation occurring all the time. Now without vegetation, why vegetation is very important? As I told you that the importance of soil, I told that the roots of the trees, they are binding the soil particles. Okay, they are binding the soil particles. Why they are binding the soil particles? They are anchoring these soil particles with the roots of the plants and the trees, and these are not allowing these roots are not allowing the particles to move here and there. So they are placed tightly at one place and they could not move. So that is why when the deforestation is occurring, it is going to harm the soil, because soil is getting eroded. It is going to move from one place to another. Means if the soil is not present, it means the nutrients are also gone. Okay, now why it is nutrients are also gone? Because you know that the humus is present, the nutrients are present, the minerals are present, and all these are present only in the topsoil. They are not present in the subsoil, or it is present but it is present in a very small amount in the subsoil. So the plants require all these nutrients, they require water, they require air, they also require minerals, which is only present in this topsoil, and if it is eroded, means the fertility of the soil is gone. Next, in this situation, when the strong winds are blowing, if the soil is already loosely kept, then what happens? When the wind is blowing, it could take away the soil particles with them. If water is flowing, it could take away the particles with them. In this situation, what happens? The water or the rainfall, the winds, all these take away the topsoil with them and decrease the quality of the soil. It decreases the fertility of the soil. Now if the fertility is being decreased, you know that minerals are not there, And if minerals are not present, then it means the leaching of the soil is taking place, means there is nothing left in the topsoil, because of which the plants could not grow properly. So this is how the soil erosion is very harmful. Now next, it also kills the organisms living inside. Why? Because some of the organisms require very means they could not survive, they can only survive in the soil. But if the soil is only eroded, if the soil is not present, these are also carried away with from one place to another place, and this could lead to the death of these living microorganisms. Next, what happens is the root of the plants and the trees, which is kept in the soil together, they allow the several microorganisms to grow and survive. Yes, so these roots of the plants and trees, if they are present in the soil, they could help in these microorganisms to survive. And this also helped this also sometimes help the plants in the good point of view. If we talk about the nitrogen fixing, these nitrogen fixing bacteria are living in the roots only, as you have studied in the first chapter about the symbiotic bacteria, symbiotic relationship, where the root nodules are present and the bacteria's rhizobium is present in the soil, in these roots. So these roots are keeping the soil particles together. But if the roots are not present, if these plants are not present, the soil will be eroded by the action of water or by the action of wind. So this is how erosion is taking place, and it is very harmful for the natural condition, because it is decreasing the soil fertility, it is decreasing the soil quality. Now, how is the soil quality being decreased more? So this is being decreased because of the pollution. Now, why is this pollution? What is this pollution? So we talked about the number of pollutions like air and water in the last classes, that air pollution is the condition which is present, it's not good for the air. Okay, now what about soil? Soil also gets polluted. So what is the meaning of this word pollution? First, let's understand. Pollution means it is something bad which is happening in the atmosphere. Means something bad is happening with the air, something bad is happening with the water, that causes water pollution, and something bad which is taking place with the air is causing air pollution. Similarly, if certain bad materials, if certain bad things is happening with the soil, it creates pollution, okay, of the soil. So dumping of non-biodegradable wastes is one of the most important cause of this soil pollution. So what is soil pollution? It is the decrease in the soil quality. Now, how is this a decrease in the soil quality taking place? So how is this soil quality being degraded? So this is being degraded, this quality is being decreased because of the addition of such pollutants. So if quality is decreased, okay, so this is because of pollutants. Now, what kind of pollutants? The first thing is that it is non-biodegradable waste. Non-biodegradable waste means it is the waste which cannot be degraded, which cannot be decomposed with the help of bacteria. Next, the waste products from the industries which is coming out, certain chemicals are there, they are added up in the soil directly, or they are being buried in the soil directly, and this causes the decrease in the fertility, this causes decrease in the quality because of such pollutants. Okay, next is the excess use of fertilizers and the pesticides. Yes, we are already knowing that these fertilizers are important and these pesticides are also important for the crop production, but still, if the excess use is taking place, means we are using the fertilizers and the pesticides, means the chemicals which is going to kill the pests, and fertilizers are going to be added in the form of manure. So these chemicals are added for the proper growth of the plants. So if we are adding up in the large amount, then this decreases the fertility of the soil. Okay, so it also causes soil pollution. Why? Because we are adding the pesticides on the crops, and sometimes what happens, this is going to flow with the water, and if rainwater, and you also irrigating the soil, so irrigating the crops. Now after irrigation, what happens? It dissolves with the water, and water is being remaining in the soil. It is again absorbed by the soil particles, which decreases the quality of the soil. So the excess use means more use of the fertilizers and the pesticides, they are going to pollute the soil, and it decreases the fertility. Okay, Now fertilizers, again, it is for the good purpose. Where pesticides are used for killing the pest, means small insects which you could see here on the growing on the plant. Sometimes they cut leaves, sometimes they cut fruits, and if you sometimes cut vegetables, you can find these animals coming out, these small insects coming out from the various vegetables. Okay, so these could be killed with the help of these pesticides, but if we are using in excess amount, then it could be very harmful in its nature. So these are the pollutants. You could see the leaves and the clippings which we are going, but this is one of the biodegradable waste. This could be, if we are added in a large amount, then they could also decrease certain, they could also cause certain chemical problems, chemical to be released from these different parts, and they could also decompose and form ammonia, which is again a harmful gas. Next, some of the chemicals which are being used in the chemicals in the swimming pools, they also can pollute the soil. As the water from the swimming pools are coming out, they are thrown directly on the soil. Next, the hazardous chemicals, means dangerous chemicals which are coming out from the factories. You are washing your cars, your vehicles on the soil, which could also pollute the soil because of the soap and detergents. Next, the litters which is being the non-biodegradable waste. This could be polythenes, this could be the plastic cans, this could be the metallic cans and other substances which is made from various other metals, which is non-biodegradable. Okay. Next, animal waste is also another types of natural pollutant. Then dust is there. Then oil and chemical from the factories, from the cars, the air pollution, pesticides and fertilizers, all these are the pollutants which are responsible for degrading the quality of the soil. So this is what is about the pollutant of the soil, which is causing the decrease in the quality and causing soil pollution. Next is that, therefore, we should have certain things in our mind, that before dumping any waste into the soil, one must treat it properly. Pesticides and insecticides and fertilizer should be used in the minimum quantity. Okay, plastics should be always be banned because it is polluting the environment. Okay, so this was all about how to control the pollution. These are some points which could prevent the soil pollution, like the use of polythene bags should be avoided. Why? Because polythene is not a non-biodegradable substance. Instead of using these polythenes, you could take up your paper bags with you, and paper bags or cloth bags or jute bags with you for shopping purpose. We should not carry many plastic objects. Okay, even I too use the paper bags, and sometimes I take cloth bag with me, so that the polythenes should be avoided. I should not bring the polythenes from the market to my home. Okay, even you also should practice the same thing. Next is that plastic object should be sent in the factories for recycling. Okay, so this recycling part is also very important. The next is that the pesticides should be used in minimum. Okay, as I told you that it is going to decrease the soil quality, so it should be used in the minimum amount. Next, excess chemical should be used. Next is that there should be reduction in the chemical gases which could cause acid rain, and we talked about acid rain as sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide is very important gas which is coming out from these automobiles and causing the air pollution. Okay, so this was all about the process. These are all about the preventive measures which could be taken to increase the fertility of the soil. And yes, the one more important point to increase to move away from the soil pollution is the afforestation. Similarly, if we talked about the soil erosion also, the how to stop this soil erosion, this could be stopped only by the afforestation. Okay, this is very important. So we could only stop these soil erosion because of the vegetation cover. So we could increase the number of trees, we could increase the number of plants, so that the plants and the trees could bind the soil, and they could be they are not easily removed. So in today's video I have talked much about this soil erosion, how it is being caused, what is the soil erosion, and then I talked about the pollution of the soil. It is causing the decrease in the quality of the soil because of the addition of such non-biodegradable substances, some wastes. Then we talked about the various pollutants of the soil which is causing pollution. So these are the number of lists. They could also add certain more pollutants of the soil. Next, we talked about how to prevent this soil pollution. So this was all about today's video. Children, I will meet you all in the next video with the next topic to be discussed. So that's all for today's video.